Hi, I'm Zach,
Hi, I'm Marcus.
Hi, I'm Lewis.
and this is 31 Days to Wellbeing. The concept's quite simple. It's 31 different wellbeing activities over every day in January.
This week we started on the 31st of December on New Year's Eve. Now we planned quite a quiet one.
Good morning.
It's happened again.
The world
I
says
feel like death.
hello.
It's happened again.
Yeah, we all woke up feeling a little bit worse for wear on New Year's Day. Well, I certainly did anyway. I can hold my hand up for that. How are you feeling?
Bit hungover. You were about to get hit by a car.
Yeah, you're all good. You can come back a bit more.
Oh.
Yeah, you're good. Oh, stop.
Stop.
That's fine, don't worry.
Good afternoon, good morning, Happy New Year, one and all. We're out here, we are going to be green bathing. Yeah, it's an ancient, Japanese thing. The main concept is just to connect with nature, so we're going to each go off in 3 different directions and spend an hour. But yeah, you just lose track of time, get involved with everything that's around you, almost be meditative in nature. So here we go.
You try and connect all of your senses up to the stuff around you. So you kind of smell all the smells, you touch the trees, you feel the leaves, you listen to the sound of running water, etc., etc. And so we did this for an hour on New Year's Day, and it was my favourite activity from when I did this project last year, but I'd really love to hear both of your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really want to leave my bed, let alone the house, on that first day. And I was thinking, wow, what a way to start 2024. Pretty much the magical mystery hangover cure that everyone is in search of. And then you're just in nature. You are, like you say, feeling the pitter-patter of rain on your cheeks, just the crisp air of that Monday. And then when we were actually getting tactile with nature, it was such an immersive experience that you just forget how much your head hurts and how much you regret your decisions.
What about you, Lewis? What did you think?
I thought it was lovely. I thought just being out and about is my biggest thing, because I know if I feel a bit ill at all, I'm very much someone who will just stay in bed and feel sorry for myself. And it's the worst thing to do. I know it is. So having an idea and really just calling it a concept, because it's more, I think it's better than just going for a walk, because you're really I found it very curious. I was very curious during the whole thing. I was looking at different trees. I was listening to different sounds. I was listening to the different birds. I didn't quite understand it when I was doing it. I was kind of saw it as a aimless walk, as a wandering as going for a walk without a destination, which was very nice. But from hearing what you guys did, you guys were a lot more tactile than maybe I was. I think the most tactile I got was I maybe threw a few twigs here and there and tried to climb a tree, which I think we all tried to climb a tree.
I failed. Amazing. So, I mean, we all came back like Cheshire Cats when we all met back in the car park. We were all just grinning ear to ear like, wow, wasn't that amazing? And yeah, very zen. For the rest of the day, I just felt very sleepy and very happy.
We are now approaching East Croydon.
I thought the first day was great. It was a brilliant start to the project, which was quite a lot easier one, actually. Zach, do you want to explain what the second day was?
Throughout the month, we're going to be doing conventional wellbeing activities, the ones that spring to mind, like yoga and meditation and kind of cold water immersion and stuff like that. But we're also going to be doing things you wouldn't necessarily associate with being wellbeing activities. And one of the one of the main things that people do within January, which is something we're sort of trying to combat throughout this project, is setting New Year's resolutions, which are great if you keep them up, but most of the time people don't. We have got a different spin on it this time, and it's called an ins and outs list. Rather than setting ourselves kind of potentially unachievable goals, we had a bit of time reflecting on what we'd like to bring into our lives in 2024, and maybe some things we'd like to remove from our lives, or any habits that we kind of want to get rid of. And so it was a very simple task. You just get 2 columns on a piece of paper, one for ins, one for outs. Yeah, what were your expectations before, Marcus?
I was quite looking forward to it as a reset for New Year. And like you say, it sort of replaces the New Year's resolution. It's about being intentional for the year ahead, not just blindly careering into it with the same bad habits or patterns that you might want to edit somehow. So I always like giving myself an overhaul in that way. I've actually done something similar for my work life. So it was interesting to take that beyond, oh, I'm going to do my emails for an hour and then not look at them, but to actually make it a bit more meaningful and impactful, because it actually is about my whole life as a holistic thing. Also really quite excited because it was quite easy.
Yeah, nice.
The ins and outs list was a really good way to start off gently into the project. It's something that I definitely could carry on doing because it gave me just a little bit more clarity. I didn't have every idea in my head saying I want to do less of this, I want to do more of that. I was able just to get it straight onto the page and really see clearly which direction I want to start moving into. It's so simple. You just need a piece of paper and a pen, and just putting it down sort of ingrains it a bit more into you. It gets you a bit more thinking about. So I've already casted some of my outs and already started planning for the ins.
Yeah, I hear that entirely. And I think some of the feedback that I've heard from people so far is exactly what you're both saying, as in it's a really nice, simple, easy and relatively quick way of looking back over the year just gone and kind of self-evaluating on the stuff that you enjoyed and maybe the stuff that you need to work on. And so some examples of, and I've done this for 2 years now, and just to be clear, it's not setting yourself goals. So if you don't achieve it, doesn't matter, but it's just focusing on yourself and what you'd like to change. One of my ins is to try and basically wake up at the same time every day rather than having the catch up on sleep at the weekend. And then I just end up losing out on effectively half of the weekend, and it ruins my sleep pattern. And then the Sunday scaries come in and I feel awful on Monday morning. So that's one of the ones that I've put in throughout this week, and I'm loving it. I feel full of energy every time I wake up. One of my outs, it's one that I actually set in 2023, and it was just to stop getting takeaways when I'm hungover. And I had it in for 2024 as well. And so we're going to see how that goes. But I kind of broke it already on New Year's Day, I'm afraid to admit.
So stand by for 2025.
The ins and outs list was a lovely kind of calm and easy one. And then we broke all of that happy, calm environment by deciding to go on a run along South Bank. The 3 of us met up, just set off really.
Prior to 31 Days to Wellbeing, I would say the activity in my life that has boosted my mental health the most by a country mile is running, because it just gives you such an endorphin rush. It gives you something to achieve. Like if you've had a bad day and then you go out for a run, you'll be like, right, I have accomplished something, I've achieved something. You're working towards something, because across days you feel like you're a bit fitter, you can go a bit further, you can go a bit faster, and it just is a great habit. So I am a passionate advocate for running, to the extent that I ran too much and now my knees don't run anymore.
Not that excited about running initially. However, I generally thought I enjoy cycling, but running I've always found just exhausting and painful and a bit miserable. So I was kind of dreading this event, but having done it, I loved it. I thought it's been my favourite one so far, and it's something that I'm going to keep going with me.
Halfway point.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, very much agreeing with both of you, but also just focusing in on the group aspect, because I think the last time I probably went on a group run was with you about 15 years ago.
I was going to say, like,
yeah, we went running when we were like 11.
Yeah.
And it does take your mind away from the the monotony of running, which is something that I struggle with when I go running, is, oh my God, I'm so bored. Like there's nothing to do other than just feel the pain of running. Whereas when it was all together, it was kind of a bit of a joke and a bit of a laugh, and we were just outdoors having fun, and it just made me completely forget about the fact that I was running. We weren't running for a time, we were running because it made us feel good. And I think that switch of mindset, I'm doing this because it makes me feel good, rather than this endless pushing yourself to get a faster time and a further distance, was what made me love it so much.
There she is. And there it is, 48 kilometres. Oh, with ease, boys, with ease.
Day 4 was meditation. So for the first week, we wanted to incorporate some of the more traditional wellbeing activities that we touched on earlier.
Anyone who knows me will know that I did a 10-day silent meditation retreat. It's become a bit of a personality trait. Why did I do that? Don't really know, just for the hell of it, really. I hadn't actually meditated since. I meditated like day after and the day after that, which is pathetic, really, because they were like, you got to meditate 2 days every day for the rest of your life. I was quite looking forward to getting back into the swing of it, see what I could remember from what I'd learnt in my quite intense 10 days. I also thought it set me up to smash an hour's meditation. I thought it would be a breeze. However, an hour is actually a long time, and I don't know whether you guys agree, but I was checking my watch.
I was struggling, and I had to end up splitting it up into a morning 30-minute and an evening 30-minute, because I went in with rose-tinted glasses thinking, oh, I'm going to wake up early and I'm going to do it with the window open and watch this, well, the sunrise, even though my eyes were shut. Now I look back, it was a stupid idea anyway. And I just absolutely hated it. I'm going to be completely honest. The 30-minute one in the morning was awful. And my expectations were so high beforehand as well. But I don't know what your thoughts were, Lewis.
So my expectations, so every time I've meditated before, it's been 20 minutes or so. And I fully was expecting to clock out in 20 minutes, but I did the whole hour. I broke in the middle, but I found the hour to be actually quite good, and I did the perfect time. I did it just before bed. I slept like a baby. That was the best sleep I've had all week, actually, was just before bed, just tuning out, looking at not looking at any screens, not really even thinking, just focusing, narrowing my focus so much.
So that's what I did for my second one, actually, and it was much better. I abandoned all hope of trying to be the aesthetic version, and just lay down with a pillow behind my back, kind of slouching, but it was great. And I feel like I fell asleep for a few minutes within it because I was so relaxed.
I think just on that, like, we've spoken about sleep quite a lot, which is interesting here. And something that I've been told before is if you can't sleep, meditation is a good second best. So if you are lying there, you're like, I can't sleep, this is tearing me up, I'm anxious about it, you're never going to sleep. Watching the clock, you're like, right, now I've got 1 minute less, another minute less, an hour less, I'm only going to get 1 hour sleep tonight. That's me. But if you just think to yourself, I'm just going to meditate instead, you're still giving your body that relaxation and also your mind. So for one thing, that will mean that when you get up, you're better rested. For another thing, you might just actually fall asleep because you're no longer reaching for this goal of sleep, which is just further and further away the more you reach for it.
Day 5 was yoga. And so we ventured out to our first venue for this one. So thanks very much to Black Lotus Yoga in Edgware for having us and letting us use your studio. I used to do a bit of yoga, but I am famously inflexible and have terrible posture. So I was slightly nervous for how bad mine was going to be, particularly next to Captain Posture over there, who was just the most straight-backed man I've ever met.
My expectations for yoga were actually quite high. Every time I've done it in the past, I've always enjoyed it. I've always found it's a lot harder workout than it looks like, but I've always felt good after it. And again, I think along with running, this is the one that I'm going to keep up. Maybe try a class in the future.
I think this was the activity that had the most immediate effect, and I was quite stressed going in, and I just felt that fall away in such a noticeable way that I too was thinking this is one that I really want to implement. But like Lewis, I think I just can't get myself to a yoga studio. So I think just doing it in my room, 20 minutes, yoga with Adrienne we did, which is my mum's favourite. She actually said, "Oh, you did day one, that's like a warm-up."
Oh no. It was mostly lying down.
Still struggle with that.
But yeah, loved it. Loved doing it with you guys. So that would be the thing you lose by doing it on your own. And loved doing it in that space, which was so restful. And you've got the mirrors to check your form. You've got the Buddha on the wall to put you in that Buddhist state of mind.
Yeah, I think I actually disagree with you both on this one slightly, just because I will never do it on my own, I don't think. I can't see myself doing it. I think I would select one of the other activities ahead of doing yoga, even though I know it's probably one of the most, if not the most beneficial for my health. I had so much more fun because we were doing it together, and I could kind of laugh it off with you two when I was rubbish and just immediately get back into it. Whereas I'd put the pressure on myself at home if I couldn't do something, get frustrated and just stop. So maybe I need to find a sort of middle ground of going with friends to a class, or just actually throwing caution to the wind and going and doing one of the many yoga classes in my gym or something like that.
Saturday, day 6, was our solo film night. We were tasked with taking ourselves for a date at a cinema on our own, something that I think some people would never do, but we thought it's a great way to treat yourself. Make sure you stock up on popcorn and drinks. And
so yeah, this was actually one of my favourites from last year, and I was really excited to have it in for both of you this year. And for some context for everyone watching, both of these two individuals have actually worked in cinemas as part-time jobs in their lives, and so have had the opportunity to watch films on their own, but usually from the box upstairs rather than down in the cinema. So I had very high expectations for this one. It's such a lovely thing to do, and like you said, so many people are sort of scared to do it, and I get that, because it's kind of frightening to do things on your own sometimes and you feel almost a bit embarrassed. But I can genuinely say, once you've done it once, you can do it a million times more. Like, it's actually really, really nice.
Going to the cinema on your own is something that I do once a week anyway, and I make it part of my every week routine is to go see at least one film a week. I love the ritual of it. I love seeing things that I necessarily wouldn't choose to see. I like the forced decision almost to go watch a film, because it's a good way to expand your knowledge and your experiences with different films. In terms of having any anxiety about going to the cinema on your own, I don't know anyone that ever worked there who ever judged another person for going on their own. It was perfectly normal, and it's a completely normal thing to do.
The Sunday activity for this week was do something that you miss doing. So it could be an old hobby, or realistically it was an old hobby, or something that you maybe picked up in the past but never continued on with. I love the idea of this one. I think the kind of nostalgia aspect is really important, and when you pick up a hobby, all the memories of it come back, and things that you wanted to do in the past come back. So can you both break down for me what thing you missed doing was, and what you got up to this morning?
so my thing that I missed was actually something that I put in my ins list, which is a nice bit of symmetry, and it was creative writing. It's something that's been in and out of my life throughout my life, and I've always loved doing it when I can get down to it. I feel like it distills what I actually think in a way that I can't do just talking on the fly, or even just sitting down and thinking. There's something about that connection between my brain and my fingers, whether I'm typing or writing, that is a little bit magic.
The thing that I missed most actually was my piano. Playing it as a skill is something that I constantly need to do to always refresh myself. So it's always about being in a routine. As much as I miss doing it, for me today it was all about starting the routine again. I'm going to start setting aside 15 minutes each day, do some little exercises, try and play a few songs.
Couple of Ferrero Jackers.
Get a little bit better each day and just hone those skills, I think.
As someone who doesn't necessarily see themselves as particularly creative, the only sort of medium of art I've ever been slightly capable of doing, and I mean slightly capable of doing, is lino printing, where you kind of draw it out and you scrape it off, and you know the drill. And it was really fun to do actually this morning. It was just a lovely way to start the day and just do something with your hands and enjoy the creation of it. Whether I do it consistently after this is something that I think I'd like to drop back in on. I'm not going to become an artist off the back of it. But I do love making greetings cards out of the stuff that I've done, and I think I gave you one for your birthday this year.
It was excellent.
Thank you. So yeah, it was just really fun it was also a really fun one to film. I know we're kind of not showing that aspect, but it was quite entertaining setting it up and doing it with my hands and kind of getting a bit art attack with it. So yeah, great enjoyment out of today's activity. Our main goal throughout this whole process is to actually raise £3,100 for Men Walk Talk, who are a grassroots men's mental health charity based out of Littlehampton, but they have coverage across the whole of the UK. A little bit on Men Walk Talk, so it's pretty much in the name. So it's been designed for men who are maybe struggling with their mental health to get out, meet up in green spaces across the UK. There is a leader from the charity who will organise a meeting point and get everyone to sort of introduce themselves and just have a bit of a chat. And it's for men who are sort of like-minded, who are maybe going through the same things, and they can just have a walk around, have a chat about it. A problem shared is a problem halved. And it's just a really lovely idea, and we think the simplicity of it is beautiful, and that's why we chose it as the charity that we wanted to support throughout this month.